Hello everyone, this is Mike Lander once again for Dispatch Press Images. Today I'd like to introduce you to our blog page, of which we are most proud. And there are two basic ways to get to our blog page. First, by clicking on the link that says blog on our homepage, and alternately by typing in blog.dispatchpressimages.com, the URL, into your browser. And since we're on the homepage now, we'll simply go to our blog. Here we are. Crisis in the Ukraine. If you've been following our website for some time, I hope you will conclude that we try to be as fair and balanced as possible. The blog page is a different animal. On the blog page, I would think of it more as an editorial with pictures. And there are two types. What you're looking at now is the slideshow presentation, and there's also simply the text and photo type blog. And this particular blog was contributed by Sean Work. Sean is a photojournalist based in Detroit. Recently he went to Ukraine to document the struggle of the people for their freedom and the effect of the conflict on the daily lives of the people. This is what photojournalists do. This is how they traditionally cut their teeth, by documenting conflict photography. So Sean has brought this back to us. In these blogs, what Mahatma Gandhi said was that you have to make the injustice visible. To make a change, you have to make it visible, and the blog certainly does that. This is the Crisis in Ukraine blog. You'll notice that the I is for information, which will give you the caption information on each photo as it comes by. And there are 33 photos in this blog. They run about 7 seconds apiece. You can click off, get the caption information off. If you click on a photo, you can hold it there. Guess not. Okay. Not holding it there at all. Maybe down here we can click on a photo. Here we go. And then you can go back to it when you want to go back to it. On top we have our search the site, the search tool for certain topics that you may want to see if we have. You can search it that way. We list some featured posts on the side. You can subscribe easily by filling in your email address where it says subscription, or you can contact us directly. You can always contact us directly at info@dispatchpressimages.com. On these blogs, you will see in blue, these are hyperlinks. This will take you back to our website, in this case, the event called Crisis in Ukraine, where you can see all of Sean's contribution to DPI, all 50 photos, 9 pages of photos that he took in Ukraine. You'll also notice that there is another link usually here on these blogs that says read more, which is read more. And then it takes you to the full text, and you can make comments and so forth. Let's get back to the blog. Okay, different categories. The archives, which will be self-explanatory later on. Creative, dispatch on assignment, documentary, and editorial. These are different collections of blogs, much like collections on our homepage, on our website. Shoreham anti-nuclear movement, back in 1983. Read more. This is a slideshow presentation again. Some are longer and some are shorter in terms of text. This is our Twitter feed that runs alongside the blog page. See what we're posting on Twitter. It's a feed that comes in. The archives. We started back in January 2014, so it's about a year and a half into this now. You can go back each month and see what we put up. Very interesting. this is interesting to us. Pareidolia. Pareidolia, to simply put, is the way that the brain tries to organize stimulus that is meaningless, such as the face on Mars, the man in the moon, seeing Jesus Christ in a cinnamon bun, as we say, and things of that nature. Okay, this is obviously in Monument Valley. This is in Utah, and these are monoliths. We call them sacred monoliths. Hundreds of millions of years ago, this area was underwater. It was under an ocean. The water evaporated and left these monoliths, which have been further subject to erosion from wind and water. And they're basically sandstone. The black that you see is magnetite, mineral magnetite, and it gives it a different look than if it was simply all red sandstone. It tends to look different depending on the lighting and how close you are and so forth. In the background, this one looks more like sandstone color. As if you would get closer to it, you would see the magnetite also. But we say pareidolia because in the rocks, when you are there, and I was there, and when you look at it, you start to see things that really aren't there. I see, when I look at this area of the monolith, I see a mother and children. I see the woman here with maybe perhaps a shawl on her head, her hands up to her face, perhaps children, older children, younger children, maybe more family members over here. When you're there, it may be difficult for you to understand this from looking at this presentation. When you're there, you see things. You see animals. You see people. You see all symbols, all sorts of things, which really aren't there, but the brain is trying to make sense of what you're looking at. In this case, there are no clouds that are visible, but the clouds over the desert tend to be very white and puffy, and they take on different shapes. It's very easy to start seeing things that really aren't there. The desert is extremely quiet. You don't hear a sound. You might see an occasional jetliner overhead at 40,000 feet and barely even hear that. It's just a very religious experience. And this term is known as pareidolia, where the brain sees things that really aren't there, but trying to make sense of it. If you can ever get there, I think you should. 2016 presidential election. I like Ike. This is on the inauguration day, 1953, after his first term. The question for 2016 perhaps is not who was running, but who was not running, as we say. And this is the type of blog that is not a photo essay. It is simply text and photos. In this one, this is Harry Truman throwing out a baseball at the Army-Navy game. Typical of a blog without a gallery, a slideshow presentation. Nixon, Vice President Nixon is in this car over here. LBJ back over here. You read these blogs and hopefully you learn something from them. The purpose is to instruct. If you learn something and you tell someone else and they tell a further person, then we're doing the right thing. That's what this is all about. Along the way, you might choose to even license an image, which would be even better for us. But in the first case, it's here to instruct. It's here to present information that you might not be able to get anyplace else. That's what a blog does. The Bowery, homeless men. There isn't a photojournalist probably living that at some time or other in his career would want to do a photo essay on homeless people. Bowery was well known in Manhattan for decades. These photos were taken back in 1963. It shows the plight of homeless people. We had so many photos that we wanted to get them all up, and when we have a large collection, we usually put them into a slideshow presentation. Buddy, can you spare a dime? Maybe he did. Okay. Toleration, something should be important to everyone. In my own professional life, my master's thesis dealt with American Indian issues, and that's one aspect of my feelings towards this concept, toleration. What happens with American Indians, what happens with Jews in Europe, and Cambodians, and people in Rwanda, and people in Bosnia, and so forth. The absence of toleration leads to genocide. The ultimate image, perhaps, describing genocide, of course, is this: the main gate at Auschwitz. It's been shot many times, and this is what we use to lead into this concept of toleration. If you want to read more, it's a text essay. It's not, although we have many pictures of Auschwitz taken at this particular time that this photo was, we did not do a slideshow. We chose to write about it, and nice photo here of the Klan down in Mississippi, 1863. And we identified some of the men in this picture also. James Zeke Bond is in the center, and Sam Shara, this man we don't know. Okay, these were workers trying to get people to vote in Mississippi and Alabama during the early civil rights era, and that certainly fits in our essay on toleration. Peer-to-peer, kind of a play on words, but the fact is that you younger generation, the millennials, are busy texting all the time. Drives us older folks a little mad sometimes. Nobody talks anymore. When you talk to people, you learn things. Not that you don't have picnics anymore, but there's a time and place for everything. Here's a family back in Kansas, about 1917. Sharing things, sharing experiences, talking. That's how you learn, from talking. Texting is fine. We're high tech too. We have our app, but our app, by the way, went live last month. It's on iTunes and the Google Play Store. You can get our app. So we're aware of the modern world, but there's still something to be said for face-to-face communication, and that's what we call this peer-to-peer. Another picnic. High tech is fine in its place. So is the computer, and we're obviously into this. The Malaysian flight that is still missing, probably always will be, MH370. This is the memorial service held in March on the 1-year anniversary of this disappearance. I won't say crash, because we don't know if it crashed or landed someplace, but the memorial service in Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur for victims of MH370. Slideshow presentation. I believe her name is Sarah Bach, B-A-J-C, if I pronounce it correctly. She was all over the news at the time. Her companion was traveling on that flight to China, and of course didn't make it along with everybody else, and she was quite vocal about it. And there's a picture of Sarah at a press conference. The last one on this page we entitle Heroes. Fellow on the right was my friend Pete Bonacci. And Pete was in the Navy. He was in the Brown Water Navy on a boat in the Mekong, and an RPG fired from shore took part of his leg off, below the knee. And see here the Purple Heart, Silver Star. Okay. If you're not familiar with the term 1,000-yard stare, you're looking at it. Okay. It's veterans who saw a lot of combat all have the stare. And by the way, the issue of PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, doesn't only happen to people in the military, veterans. Post-traumatic stress can happen after other traumatic experience, a car accident, a serious illness, and so forth. But these combat veterans, like Pete, have that stare. Pete died some years ago, about a decade ago, and he's buried in Arlington National Cemetery. The fellow on the left, we don't know. We have tried to identify him. We have not been able to yet. As a closing statement, I just want to say that the photos that we have on our website, on our blog, sometimes may include people that you might know. We are always we try to be as accurate as possible with information, as far as caption information regarding time and place and so forth. If you see someone in a photo that you know, please contact us. If you find an error as to location or time, if there's a photo of someone that is a relative of yours, if it is disturbing to you, please contact us. We do our best to be respectful to those whose photographs we put on our blog and our homepage. However, if you have a problem with any photo, please contact us. We don't mean to, in any way, to disparage against anyone's integrity. These photos are, we believe, are newsworthy, educational, worthy, and there is no intention to show anyone in a bad light. If you know someone, if you know this, if you're looking at this and you know who this is, please let us know. We'd like to know. We have tried. We have contacted Pete's family. They don't know. And I've contacted the other people who have been there. They don't know either. But obviously, brothers forever. Okay. So, again, please contact us if you need us at info@dispatchpressimages.com. For now, Mike Lander, have a nice day.